From white powdery substances being found in the the White House, to President Biden tripping again while boarding the Air Force One. This time it's on the shorter steps. I swear, I don't know if we've had any other sitting president that has had as many trip, stumble, or fall instances as President Joe Biden. Nearly 100,000 Georgians kicked off of Medicare, Medicaid, Peach Care for kids starting in June. Bud Light, they can't catch a break either. We've got a lot to cover today in today's video, guys. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider dropping a quick like for the video. Also consider subscribing to the channel. I'd love to have you guys a part of the community. I mean, I know the man's about to be 80 years old, but as a sitting president, tripping, stumbling, in the public eye is really not a good look for the American people. It really makes him look weak. And, I just feel like somebody should do something about this. Like, okay, clearly he's weak. Can we get this man some assistance, maybe an escalator built into one of these aircrafts, something, or at least turn the camera off of him whenever he's walking? I mean, it's getting bad out here, folks. And speaking of tripping, a lot of parents right now are tripping over the fact that nearly 100,000 Georgian kids are being kicked off of Medicare, Peach Care for kids in June. So Georgia's June 1st deadline for Medicaid and Peach Care for kids redetermination deadlines came and went. And now you got the Georgia Department of Community Health releasing data on the number of Georgians who lost their coverage Wednesday. Looks like 100,000 people lost their health coverage. Comment down below if you are one of them or if you know someone who is. And another nearly 57,000 people remain pending and will keep their coverage for now, at least, while their eligibility is determined. And this is one of many benefit programs that are being cut. We already saw SNAP and EBT benefits cut drastically earlier this year. And of course, there was a Social Security increase for 2023, but many people who were receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI actually saw their increase in the social. They actually saw an increase in the Social Security check, but they saw a decrease in their SNAP and EBT benefits. And it looks like the trend is likely to continue. But guess who else can't catch a break? Anheuser-Busch, after their whole Bud Light marketing scheme fallout. I mean, look at the headlines, guys. I mean, Anheuser-Busch. How much has Anheuser-Busch stock fallen? It's a train wreck to see. And Ron DeSantis, he thinks he knows why Disney is actually getting Bud Lighted. Woke executives in Burbank are trying to impose this agenda. And I think we're at a point where, I mean, at least for myself, I understand that there's alternative lifestyles, but, we don't necessarily need it shoved down our throats. And we definitely don't want it being almost marketed to our children. That's my own personal perspective. But basically, there was this boycott of Disney, both of its theme parks and the movie releases, reflecting the anti-Disney stance of parents who don't want an agenda, and I quote, who don't want an agenda shoved down their throat. So it looks like this is the general consensus across the board. Not everyone feels the same way, but to each his own. A Wall Street Journal report citing data from a travel company revealed that the summer Independence Day traffic at Walt Disney in Orlando, Florida, was the slowest in nearly a decade. And it's gotten so bad for Bud Light that glass bottling plants are actually shutting down as a result of this Bud Light boycott. 600 employees are now jobless. Two other big beverage stocks are on the watch list as well. And so Bud Light sales have been slipping, and the impact is extending well beyond the beer brand. It's really unfortunate when you think about how many other companies do business with Bud Light, and when their business goes down, so does the demand for these other adjacent services. Now, according to an internal memo, the decision was due to slow sales with Anheuser-Busch. I don't think I've seen anything like this before. In fact, I've even seen companies basically giving away Bud Light. I mean, it was to a point where Bud Light was actually cheaper than water. And, all the different videos, the memes, going viral. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen that Kid Rock one where he's basically like shooting up the packs of Bud Light. And what was odd is that Kid Rock actually has a bar, and his bar, I actually saw in a video, it looks like they're actually still selling Bud Light on the shelves. Garth Brooks, on the other hand, it looks like he's not necessarily, walking away from the brand. Now, from my own perspective, I would not go to a bar just because it sells Bud Light, even if I decide not to drink it. I mean, just don't drink it if that's your thing. I'm just saying. So anyway, you might be wondering, what has all of this hate for Bud Light lately come from, right? Well, take a look.
On April 1st, Dylan posted a sponsored video to her Instagram announcing herself as a Bud Light partner. The video was quickly found by conservatives who called to boycott the beer. Since then, Dylan has not admitted to what happened behind the scenes. Fans rushed to Dylan's comments, flooding them with love and support during this time.
So there you have it, folks. That is what is going on, and pretty much how we've gotten here, or how Bud Light has actually gotten here. That's the backstory. But, that was definitely a PR, a marketing, significant ball drop having taken place here. I mean, you got to think about who your current customers are. Like, who's your current customer base? What do the demographics look like? And how they may receive the types of marketing that may be being put in place here. I can't imagine knowing what Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch's, because technically, Anheuser-Busch is the parent company, and their stock has taken a tremendous hit to this. Last I checked, it was like down by the stock price was, or the total market cap for Anheuser-Busch is down like $27 billion. It's a tremendous mistake here. But you got to think about, it's always like, know your audience. And in this case, clearly, that was overlooked and ignored. And it's funny how these big companies, a lot of times they just kind of blow off the customers' opinions. And basically it was kind of like, you know what, this is just going to be a temporary situation. We're not even going to worry about this, almost just kind of, tried to blow the whole thing under the rugs. And lo and behold, customers stood up by voting with their dollars. And this has literally brought the company down to its knees. So very, 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 very serious situation that's unfolding here. From one company trying to appease the woke crowds, here is one person who has decided to go ahead and just kind of turn her back on an entire party. Misha Maynor, she said that she didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me when it embraced left-wing radicalism, lawlessness, and put the interests of illegal aliens over the interest of Americans. I have nothing to apologize for.
The Democrat Party has not been focusing on Black Americans for quite a while now. We cannot say that we care about people in marginalized communities if we want to keep them suppressed and oppressed. One of the things that bothered me the most is when I would ask them, why are we doing this? Why is it okay for kids to not be able to read? Their response to me was, we've got to give them hope. In response, I would say, since when is a lie hope? If you really care about Black people, the Black people that are elected need to do something about the issues for the Black people that they represent.
So there you have it, guys. So you have another Democrat that is actually switching sides, changing teams, so to speak, and moving over to the Republican team. And, it's interesting because when as I was growing up, it was always this stigma that, if you're Black, you're supposed to vote Democrat. And I think that stigma is more or less, as time goes on, going away. Now, obviously, there's definitely some pushback, but I think that it really, if you look at what these different parties stand for, you need to really evaluate, who is actually representing you and your own personal interests. And I'm not saying that you should be Democrat. I'm not saying you should be Republican. I think that's your personal choice. But to assign yourself a party based on your race, I think it's silly. And, you know, it used to be like this thing, like, it's like, you know, if you had views that are more in alignment with a Republican Party and you're black, you had to keep those views to yourself. But I think that really think that the times are changing at this point. But let me know what you guys think. Drop me some comments down below. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, drop a quick like for the video if you made it this far. And I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe.